I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brian, come to the microphone up there. What brings you here tonight?
Communications Merit Badge.
All right. Well, what class are you?
I am first class.
First class. That's wonderful. We have two Life Scouts up here. Councilman DiPolito, who is absent tonight, and Councilman Orleans is a Life Scout. And Councilmember Price is the mother of an Eagle Scout. I know you have a brother who's an Eagle Scout, and I'm also an Eagle Scout, so you are in good company tonight. Let's have a hand for Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Senator Albers, anything you need to add to that?
I don't know if I can add anything past Ryan, Mayor, but I would just say thank you to you and to your council for making us so proud to live in Roswell. We are blessed beyond reason to live here. And I would encourage you and the rest of our city to make sure your voices are heard with Fulton County as they try to pass an illegal tax increase of 17% on your property that is prohibited by law. So I'd ask that you make your voices heard to the County Commission Chair and to those commissioners, and thank you again for all your service and hard work.
Senator Albers, thank you for bringing us to that to our attention.
Thank you.
This is our open meeting night. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand and I'll call upon you. We'll start with the man in the green. Come forward. If you give us your name and address,
You can leave the card.
just lay it right there.
Forrest Buchanan, 225 Nesta Court in Roswell East. And I'm sorry I inadvertently wore this green shirt. Concerning the Roswell, I think it's the Roswell Green.
Yes, sir.
Have you all ever thought about having, instead of the city of Roswell paying for that, to have a special tax district?
That has not been suggested.
Could I suggest it tonight?
You can suggest that.
Okay. Could it be considered?
I'm not sure what the law is, but I'm certainly will suggest to the council that they consider that as one option.
Okay. The other thing is about Canton Street. Have you all ever thought about just closing it off to vehicular traffic? I'm originally from New Orleans, and New Orleans closes off Royal Street, except early in the morning when delivery trucks service the restaurants. And I always thought for the first 2 or 3 blocks of Canton Street, if we could do the same thing.
That has been the subject of many discussions. We had many discussions before we closed it off on a pilot program. I will tell you that to a large extent is driven by the Canton Street merchants and their wishes. The council has not wished to do something that did not have the support of the Canton Street merchants. That is their district. And they have to make a living there, and so we have deferred to them in the past.
So they didn't want the it closed off to vehicular traffic?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Now, there is also a discussion now about doing something on the alleys on either side of Canton Street. I think there's a lot more justification for closing those off, but there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed there. Canton Street merchants have told us before they see any further development in their district, parking needs to be addressed.
What type of district? You keep using the term district. What type of district?
It's not a governmental district.
Okay.
I use it as in a general term of I have an office on Canton Street, but mine is at the far north end of Canton Street, okay. And I don't consider myself part of that grouping because they've got different issues and different problems. So I'm just treating that as sort of an area of general interest. Those merchants all have similar problems and similar issues. They have parking issues, they have garbage issues. They're concerned about should it be open or closed.
Well, listen, I'm trying to give you a trip to New Orleans so you all could investigate Royal Street. Now, don't turn me down.
The city council has taken several trips, not to New Orleans, but I know we've looked at other cities and how they've addressed those issues, and so we are open to ideas.
Okay. The other thing is too, and I've been with the veterans and this green, I was wondering if y'all could pass an ordinance that cutting down the trees will be the very last thing that they do. My fear of that is they cut down the trees and then we say, oh, we're out of money, and everything gets stalled, but yet we don't have the trees.
I will assure you that this project will not move forward until there is funding. We're not going to partially fund this, and
Okay.
it's my understanding from council that this will not be. I will tell you the first thing that's going to be done is if the final decision is to move the memorial, that's probably going to be the first project to be done. And
Okay.
from a timing standpoint, if this project moves forward, there's been an understanding that we need to have the project started and finished within a 12-month period so that the Memorial Day celebration can move forward without an interruption.
Well, again, that Memorial Day celebration out in the hot Georgia sun.
We've heard those concerns.
Okay. I was wondering if on the library, I'd realize it is a, what is it, Atlanta Fulton County Library.
Yes, sir?
But is there any way for our library here that you all would consider making up the shortfall so we could get back to the old hours?
That has not come to this council. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but our first hope is that Fulton County will make it up.
Well, yes, that would be my hope too, but if they don't, is there any way that you all wouldn't consider picking up the shortfall?
It's not in the current budget. It's not under consideration, but it is a possibility.
Okay. The other thing is, if you're on 400 and you're heading south and you're going to turn off to Roswell, it's one lane that goes into 3 lanes. 2 of the lanes are a left turn to go east to Roswell. Then there's a single lane going west to this part of Roswell. It's been my experience that the 2 lanes going to, if you excuse the expression, Roswell East, are usually you have to go outside along the line, people lined up to go to Roswell, the main part of Roswell. And I was wondering, to me, the simple fix was for that one sign that says turn left, you can have it turn either way.
We have a much more complicated fix. Mr. Asenbrack, would you come forward and describe what's currently under design?
How you doing?
But I think it's a better fix.
Pardon?
It's much more complicated, but I think it'll be actually much more fun, more operational.
We agree with you that there's congestion in that area. As far as the signage, I'll look at that. That could be a short-term fix. The mayor alluded to, we had done a study several years ago about the whole Holcomb Bridge 400 intersection, and we came up with 7 projects, and they're all underway right now. That particular, our name for that is the southbound off-ramp. That southbound off-ramp of 400. There's also a southbound on-ramp, so those 2 ramps are under the control of GDOT, and they have allowed us to run with everything else, and we are running with all of our projects, and they are walking, and we are doing the best we can to get them to get up to speed on that, but it is in the process, it is funded, it's just taking a little bit of time. So there will be some pretty significant
Mr.
improvements.
Asenbrack, if you could quote the cost for all of these projects?
Well, right now, the city has $7.5 million budgeted for those projects, and then the southbound off-ramp and the southbound on-ramp are fully funded by GDOT to the tune of about $1.2 million, as I recall. So there's lots in the hopper coming.
Okay. Good. Thank you. My wife and I went to your Civic Center for a play, or our Civic Center, excuse me, and during intermission, there was a slight line for the men's room, but the ladies' room was always all the way across the lobby. Now, my wife said you meet some interesting people as you wait for the line for the restaurant. And she was able to, but I think you all need to take a look at that. Although I'm for equal the ERA, but in this case, I think they maybe need a couple of more stations, I should say. The last thing is, just riding up here tonight on Holcomb Bridge Road, there's a cell tower that they stuck fake leaves in it, and it really looks, to my feel, stupid. I mean, that thing is sticking up with these branches coming out. I mean, it looks like we've got our own phallic symbol out there, but be that as it may, I would suggest that they take the limbs out and just have a single pole sticking up.
Well, there was discussion on that point, and that was the request of the neighborhood, as I recall.
The neighborhood?
The folks who were immediately adjacent to it requested that style of tower. So we deferred to them.
Okay, fine.
Councilmember Price.
And the good news is we didn't pay extra for it.
Oh, good. All right, that's all I had. Thank you very much.
Who'd like to speak next? Just come forward, please.
Janet Russell, 260 Willow Springs Drive. First, I just want to say that I had a little problem on my street after trash collection last Wednesday, and a whole bunch of stuff got unloaded in front of my house, and it was a big mess. So I went to Public Works, and they sent Mike out to clean it up because it was horrible, like 40 feet of skid marks of mud and manure and junk, and I didn't have any pickup at my house. And they sent him out, and he did a great job, and I just want you to know that he did a great job. He was really thorough. Secondly, we're in the middle of summer almost with the pool, and the pool is better than ever this year. The lifeguards are super. The management is great. I do know that the pool has a large crack in it and it needs some repair. I would hope you would address that in the budget so that no one gets electrocuted, because it's not pretty. The fireflies are pretty, but not when we're floating in it. Thirdly, on a somber note, tonight I want to acknowledge the death of a friend of mine. He died on Friday, the day after his 69th birthday, and he died from the effects of Agent Orange in Vietnam. His name was Patrick Flanagan, and he lived in Virginia City, Nevada. He has struggled for the last year with lung cancer, skin cancer, and melanoma. And that memorial that you want to move because you feel it's expendable represents his life too. 58,272 men and women died in that conflict. That does not include those who have died who came home and were the walking dead but didn't know it. Patrick Flanagan was a brilliant philosopher, writer, accountant, owned the San Francisco Fishery Company, and knew all the movers and shakers in the old-time fishing business. And I got an email from him on Thursday, which is why I was kind of blindsided when I found out he died on Friday. So he was someone's son, he was someone's husband, his wife predeceased him, he was someone's father, uncle, he was my friend since high school. And I think that you are, when you say, well, if we move the memorial and blah, 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 you act like it's a game of Chinese checkers. That memorial is not just a piece of stone or sculpture. I went out there again last night. By the way, the water is not flowing again on the memorial. It's just sitting there. I'm not sure why. Every person I bring here is stunned by the beauty and the impact of that memorial. To move it will be a transgression against memory, a transgression against the valor of people who didn't have a choice. So I'm only here tonight to say thank you to my friend Patrick Flanagan. He fought the great fight in the war. He chronicled it. He did beautiful photographic essays. He talked about his friends in the Delta, the Mekong Delta, not the Mississippi Delta. There's a huge difference. He got cancer from that. And Agent Orange, is the gift that keeps on giving to my generation. None of you up there will experience it, but I'm experiencing it more and more when I find out that they've died. So I'm going to remind you once again that to move that memorial will be immoral, amoral, and an insult to every person that's ever served this country in any capacity in the military, living or dead.
Who would like to speak next? Yes, sir, come forward.
Can you give me this? Lee Fleck, Martin's Landing. Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Control room.
I have a couple of things I want to touch on before I want to get to the gist of my discussion. You know, for many years I came to council, and when Ed Williams was the chief of police, I don't care whether it was an open mic or council, he was always present. Ever since he left and we had Chief Littlepants, it's like we don't get any police presence at the council meetings or that unless there's awards being given. Now, I know we got undercover guys and we've got uniformed guys here and stuff. I know all about RC. Okay, I'm talking to the chief of police so he can answer. Oh, that's the assistant. I'm sorry, you're hiding back there. Come on up here with the police, or the fire chief. He's always here. I stand corrected. I hadn't seen him before. At any rate, I think that I hope we're going to continue having police presence in authority in case any questions come up, because some may come up tonight what I want to talk about. I want to start by saying P2C program is what I want to discuss. I'm going to start by saying that my wife started back August of last year, 2013, in communications with this administration and the police department, trying to get a definitive answer when we would get a system to replace crimereports.com. Now, I know you're all familiar with what that is, but that's how people who want to move into apartments could go to it and see how bad the crime was in this department or that apartment. Same thing with neighborhoods. You could go, you get a map, and it would give you all the incidents over whatever period of time you wanted to know about. And so when you put in your new software program, new computer program, you didn't have the links to provide that information to crime reports, so you suspended that service, and I feel that was a service to the citizens more than probably the police or the administration. From August to January, my wife was in communications with you all, and it got to the point that nobody was doing anything. The answer she was getting was deceptive. And it was very apparent that we were not interested in promoting or publicizing the crime in this city. In January, when I saw what was going on, I then contacted Kalia, and rest assured I will be testifying when Kalia does come, as I have in the past. And their comment was, crime information. There is indeed standards mandating the agency comply with state and federal laws concerning release of public information. Okay? Now, 62 pages of emails my wife communicated with this administration and this council. Another 48 pages communication. So well over, and there's several others. And as you can imagine, there are many emails on each page. And it wasn't until Lisa Holland, your police public representative, public spokesperson who goes before the meeting, came before the Martin's Landing annual homeowners assessment and said that the P2C was up and running. Of course, it was the third time it was supposedly up and running. And she showed all the maps and all the great things that it was doing and everything, and I go home and I check it out and it's not working worth a flip. Again. So I sent off some typical nasty emails, and we then decided, until we could get something definitive, we would ask for the crime reports to be sent to us in this form. Now, last Thursday I went on to crime P2C, and it was probably around April when you actually got it semi-functional. Of course, as Lisa Holland said back in March, I think it was, before the Martin's Landing Board, her subdivision wasn't even available on the system. Well, as of today, her subdivision still isn't even available on the system. We have 8 subdivisions in Martin's Landing, including Avistale apartments, and only 4 are accessible on your drop down, which is right here. 3 of the subdivisions are the highest crime subdivisions in Martin's Landing. To attest to that, I've got, this is 4 months, I've got 346 incidents of reported calls for service in Martin's Landing. 30% of them are Vistale, and then another 10% is the apartments, and those are not accessible unless you spell out a specific address. Now, last Thursday, my wife was unable to get on it. I was able to get on it, but when you hit the drop-down search for the map, right here, I stand correct. Let me show you where that is so you all see whether I can't find it. Here it is. Right on there, there's a supposedly a link to Google Maps. Well, it didn't work. Last night before I came in here, I thought I'd look at it again, and nothing worked. I hit the search, and 10 minutes later, nothing showed up for my residence in North Pond. I went to work today, and I hit it, and certainly everything came up. Of course, at work, we have much more sophisticated computer systems than I have at home. And I was able to go and see all the maps, and it works fine. But even on your own website, you say Microsoft 10 and 11 this system is can't be used in Microsoft 10 and 11, which are the 2 most common at-home systems most people have. What I'm trying to relay to you, hopefully, is that the system is not user-friendly for its purpose. Okay, I had a lady once come to me and say, you know, we moved into an apartment complex, we couldn't get access to any information, crime results on any information in any apartments. Of course, we all know they change their name every so often when their statistics get up, and they have a new name, and so now the City of Roswell police report, they got no crime results for that apartment complex, so they just vaporize. So they mask the crime that way in their apartments. This lady and her teenage daughter had moved into one of our illustrious apartment complexes. You could probably guess which one. And she then found out that it was crime-ridden, and she had already locked into a year's contract. And there again, nothing was available for that individual to go to. Now what this does, this just breeds more of the same apartment complexes that you currently have that are crime-ridden, okay? And you promote that. This council promotes that. Hide the realities of the crime in these rundown apartment complexes, and you keep attracting the same talent to those. Now, sure, just a note, may I know that you have your, what is it, the program you developed? Crime-free housing. Oh yeah, crime-free housing. You do realize that murder, suicide, and that lady was beat to death, damn near beat to death, and now there are all these local Bleeding Hearts are trying to get money to support this illegal, to fund her finances because she's a vegetable. But the guy then killed his son, then killed himself, and that was in your first apartment complex you had signed up for your crime-free housing. I really hope that you people, and I sent you some critiques, okay, of knowledgeable IT people. I sent it to you about things that could be done with that program to make it more user-friendly to the public. And I certainly hope you proceed and try and do something with this program to make it reliable and more in line with what we had before with the crime reports. Right now, when you hit that map, you might get that one particular line item will come up on a map. Sometimes you'll get more than one, but it is just not functioning as it was sold to us by Lisa Holland when she was at the Martin's Landing annual meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak? Student Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to add a bit of information. I wanted to say thanks to Janet Russell for her kind remarks, and to let you know that the Mike she refers to is Michael O'Neill, one of our scout truck drivers in sanitation, and I just wanted the record to reflect that, as usual, he has done another great job.
And as usual, our solid waste pickup team will all of our citizens. Anyone else? Councilmember Weiss.
Just Stu, before you sit down, what was the problem exactly? Why was trash left there?
We don't know exactly, but it appears that some neighbors had put out yard waste that was not bagged, and so there was large clumps of dirt, and it was at the edge of the pavement, and it was tracked by a truck. Could have been the garbage truck. We don't know, but we accepted responsibility and sent Michael out, and he cleaned it up.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Please turn on your microphone.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no hands up, the citizens meeting is adjourned. We have a special called meeting. And first we have the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Wynn, second by Councilmember Orleans. Anyone have any questions regarding the consent agenda? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. We have some things on the Transportation Department agenda. Councilmember Diamond.
Thank you, sir. This item is approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign a construction contract in the amount of $120,984.85 to Summit Construction for the Old Alabama at Old Alabama Connector Project. And Mr. Asenbrack is here to talk about it.
Thank you, Councilmember Diamond. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. This is a action to get a long-standing project underway, and I've got some graphics for you here. This is a very modest intersection improvement that we think will make a big difference in the area. This is Old Alabama Road at the Old Alabama Connector. And what we're going to do is we've acquired the right-of-way, and we are now ready to award the project to build a small right turn lane to relieve some of the congestion in that area.
Does council have any questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Diamond. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Orleans. Any questions from the audience? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
This item is approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign a contract with Lori's Transportation for the State Route 140 at Warsaw Road Intersection Improvement Project in the amount of $133,635.52.
Thank you, Councilmember Diamond. This is a contract we issued a request for proposals. We received 3 bids back. we were in the process of awarding to the low bidder when the low bidder withdrew their bid. And so we went to the second low bidder, which is Lori's Transportation, and they were slightly higher than our budgeted amount. We went to GDOT, and they agreed to help us with the funding. And so what this is, here again, a graphic for your information, Holcomb Bridge Road at Warsaw. There's the Olive Garden just as a point of reference, and what we have is a left turn lane there now that we're going to extend to improve the operational capacity of that intersection. So we recommend Lori's Transportation to you for approval of $133,635.52.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Diamond. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Price. Anyone in the audience or council have any questions? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
Next item is approval of a resolution to sign a project framework agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation for the State Route 140 Holcomb Bridge Road at Warsaw Intersection Improvement construction in the amount of $141,500.
Thank you, Councilmember Diamond. This is the same project that we just passed. This is our framework agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation. As I mentioned, that we are working, this is their state road. Holcomb Bridge is State Route 140. Is it appropriate for us to enter into a project framework agreement? The difference in this particular case was, as I mentioned before, when we went through the second low bidder, we had to make some adjustments in the contract amount. So we had to adjust the project framework agreement, and there is additional money in this agreement for contingencies and for testing.
Does council have any questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Diamond for approval. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Price. Any questions from the audience? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
This is approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to accept 3 right-of-way agreements for the State Route 140 westbound through lane and streetscape project in the amount of $100,387.
Thank you again. So this is Holcomb Bridge Road on the east side of Georgia 400. Here's Holcomb Bridge, State Route 140. This is Georgia 400 here on the left side of this page, and this is Old Alabama Road. So we are continuing our process. The design is complete. We are acquiring the right-of-way. These are 3 more parcels, 3, 6, and 7 for your consideration tonight, and this will get us very close to the end of the right-of-way acquisition of this portion of the project.
Do we have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Diamond. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wynn. Anyone in the audience or council have any further questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
And last but not least, approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign a change order to add an existing road resurfacing contract with Blount Construction Company, Inc. for fiscal year 2014 citywide resurfacing in the amount of $900,000. I know Mr. Asenbrock doesn't like us to call this a change order, but we will muddle through.
Thank you. It's just a personal thing, but it is indeed a change order. We issued a contract working with finance, but what we did was we issued the exact amount for the first batch of roads. And as in talking with the finance director, Keith, it was appropriate because what happens is that the company actually has to bond for that amount. Now this change order requires them to get a new bond. So it is more than just an additional services. We are going to work through that for the future, but basically this is money and that we had already anticipated spending. Here is a list of the next batch of roads that this will cover, and so we're just going to modify the contract with our contractor and begin immediate work on this next list of roads.
I'm trying to recall, was the total contract 900 or is this just the 900 batch?
No, Mayor, the total contract is It was well, and this is several 2 years worth. So we were in about $2.5 million worth of paving. We only did about $1 million and change on the first batch, and this is just a little bit less. As I mentioned in the committee, the reason we're not using all of the money is because of conditions as we analyze it in the field sometimes are different. This gives us some contingency to make adjustments in the field, and also with our LIMIG, as you know, that money has nothing to do with the condition of the road. It's simply a formula from GDOT, and so we like to keep some of our paving money on the side to address any issues that the LIMIG may allow for, or we may find.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve a purposeful and strategic change order.
A motion by Councilmember Diamond to approve the amendment of $900,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Orleans. Anyone have any questions or comments? All in favor? Yes, Councilmember Price.
Not related to this one entirely, but all of the ones we just took up. I just wanted to thank council for agreeing to moving these up and the mayor placing these on the agenda, because if we had waited until July 14th, none of these items would have been addressed for nearly 3 weeks after the committee meeting. So we wouldn't want the Department of Transportation to be idle or wishing they could think of more things to do. So appreciate all the effort it took to move all this up to tonight. Thank you.
All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Can you take that home for me?